Hello, I'm Camilla Richter, co-creator of the Digital Transformation Roadmap, a series designed to equip CXOs for their self-directed DX journey. With me today is Rob Maeyaert, Director of Project Portfolio and Change Management at Victoria Fide. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Camilla.
It's good to have you on today. So we just published chapter 5 of our Execute Stage articles in the Digital Transformation Roadmap series. And in this chapter, we have a couple of people, the solution architect, business analyst, and then a BPO and SME for one of the teams at Galactic Gravity Inc. And they are reviewing business requirements and process flow diagrams and trying to get everything ready for solution design sessions coming up. And I wanted to talk to you. I know that you've been a part of countless process review sessions throughout your career, and I wanted to ask you, how common is it for upper management or senior leadership to be surprised in these types of meetings at what is actually going on their teams?
Yeah, it's very common that happens, especially when those senior leaders are just so far removed from the day to day. And I can think of one specific situation where the director of finance really wasn't involved in the day to day, and the team, the accounting manager, and really the accountants had really just figured out a way to make things work, to get through their processes and do it in a way that just gets the job done, their month-end closings, their year-end closings, whatever their period-end closings look like. And when we got to these sessions, so much came out that wasn't documented. It was just tribal knowledge, and it was kind of done off the books, if you will, off the record. But it was things that the team did to get their jobs done. And it might have been things that they've complained about at some point, but they were just told just to make it work and get things done. So in that situation, it really surprised the finance director, and who was not aware of what was going on, or at least pretended that they weren't aware to the full extent of what was going on. And a lot of back and forth just to get on the same page with what was going on, and get the subject matter experts to really chime in and explain the true extent of what they're doing, some of the challenges they're seeing, so we could understand what they're doing and be able to help them resolve those issues and make them make their processes more efficient and streamline the work that they're taking on.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work to try to get down to what is actually happening
Can
on
be.
these processes.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges that we saw in this chapter that we published was that, some people might have a hard time being forthcoming with some of this information. There's like some strange tension or dynamics between team members. Do you have an experience that you can share where a team member was sort of hesitant to speak up during a process review, and how did that impact the project?
Yeah, I can think of a time when I was working with a sales team, and we had a lot of customer service representatives that uh, had a process for how they go about entering leads and information, taking orders into their CRM system. And the sales leaders, the customer service leaders, really didn't really have a good handle on exactly what was going on, the processes that were being taken. But the way it kind of presented itself was those customer service leaders were really walking through the process, explaining what was going on, and they were getting some pushback from their team members who were chiming in, explaining what was actually happening. And the team leaders were no, that's not what's happening, that's not what we're doing. And it really kind of cut off the SMEs who were trying to speak up, trying to present truly what was happening. And they felt like, okay, well, I can't speak up, I'm not allowed to really voice my opinion. And this kind of just more, it really kind of highlighted a lot of the dysfunction that we could kind of see on the
Yeah.
team, what was happening, a whole nother level of dysfunction that we knew we needed to then figure out how we work through to be able to build a cohesive solution that solves these problems, but also addresses some of the change management considerations that we were also finding along the way as well.
Yeah, for sure. Were you able to kind of get to the bottom and work through that with some of the change management
Yeah,
tactics and
yeah, eventually we were able to, but it did take a series of meetings to really maybe connect with those people who were really in the weeds, the subject matter experts. Also, then kind of
Mhm.
explain and try to reach the BPOs, the team leaders who were trying to put the kibosh on some of that dialogue and conversation coming up to just to kind of get them to understand that, okay, it sounds like there might be a little bit more happening here. We probably should get that detail, trying to make it their idea, trying to work with them to help us get to that information.
Mhm.
And it was some back and forth to really get to the bottom of exactly what was happening. And it's not an exact isn't always an exact formula for how to do that. That's why we involve change management and think about the change management considerations. But in the end, we got there. But it did take a few conversations. It took connecting with some of the project leadership and sponsorship to help us be able to tackle it in a way that allows us to connect with the right people in the right way to get to that information.
Mm. Yeah. So we've talked about business requirements before, and I wanted to talk about how crucial is it to gain clarity and also approval and sign off on these business requirements, particularly at this stage in the
Yeah, yeah.
project.
Yeah, well, for all the reasons that we've just talked about, where there could be a disconnect between, the team leaders, management, as well as the people that are actually tactically working through the day to day of all of these processes, there can be so many differences and discrepancies and differences in how people believe things are happening versus the way they actually are transpiring. So that places an extra emphasis around making sure that we truly understand what the business processes are and what the
Mhm.
requirements are. And, there's going to be misses. There definitely will be. But, what we try to do through that process is we try to make sure as we're a team doing these design sessions and assessing what we think is happening, trying to document everything we can, putting it in front of the right people to review that process and approve those processes and requirements. And 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 they're not always experts or professionals in digital transformation, as we talk about in our story as well. But we need to get their involvement to be able to make sure that they can see and understand what we believe we've heard. And we might not catch everything right away, but that's why we try to at least make sure we're involving them along the way, make sure that the right people, the right set of eyes are reviewing and approving requirements. And then as we go through things, we set things up in the system to work through those processes. At that time, we build that based on what we're seeing through these approved processes, approved requirements, and make sure that we're getting buy-in along the way. And as we find misses, we go back to the requirements that are documented, or as we're being told that, hey, we told you about this, or we told you about this. We go back to the requirements, we go back to what the approved processes were, and we say, hey, we're setting this up based on what you were telling us, what you approved us to go about setting up in the system, showing you how things could look in through this technology platform. Wasn't communicated to us,
Mhm.
but now we have an opportunity to revise our documentation, revise our processes, revise our requirements, and now get that new piece, revise the process accordingly based on the new information that you're telling us. So having approved processes, having approved requirements, very important, because that's what we're going to base our solutions on and how we set up our technology systems and platforms. And when we learn more information, we make changes to those requirements, we make changes to those processes, and we move forward. And we continue to do that until we've perfected things enough to be able to release that solution and keep moving forward.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah, that's very, it all comes down to what are you trying to do with this project, right? What are you trying to improve in your business and making sure that it's hitting all of those marks. So
For sure. It's not perfect, but this process allows us to make sure that we are continuously collaborating with our business process owners or subject matter experts and getting to a solution that will allow us to go live, improve their business processes, improve their team performance, and ultimately achieve those business outcomes that we're trying to drive for.
yeah. So when it comes to Project Pulsar, which is the initiative in our scenario-based articles, I wonder what you think. If you can share a little bit, what are the repercussions if Project Pulsar chooses to move to the next step in the process of the solution design before, figuring out some of these discrepancies and reaching
Yeah.
alignment on these business requirements? What could happen?
Yeah. Well, definitely if we don't have solid business processes, solid requirements, things will surface along the way. We'll see some of those cracks present themselves where we are going about demonstrating the end-to-end process in our technology solutions, in our systems, and there'll be things that are missing, things that aren't accounted for, and they will come up, and then we will go about making changes. We will go about accounting for them. But first and foremost, we're going to document what we're hearing. We're going to document the changes. We're going to make sure we're getting approval, and then we continue moving forward. Now, I anticipate, just like it happens every day in digital transformation efforts, things will be missed. However, the way our methodology, the way our processes are structured as such is there's a lot of opportunities to be able to catch these discrepancies, catch these changes through a number of additional design sessions that will take place, through testing, through training, and making sure that we have enough set of eyes on everything to make sure that we get it right and address anything that is critical along the way. So things will be missed. However, we do have a lot of checks and balances along the way to make sure that we catch what is critical before we do go live.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob, for your time and talking through this and just the importance of reaching this alignment and reviewing and everything that goes into building this solution. To read the latest chapter in our scenario-based execute stage series, you can click the link in the description below and subscribe on LinkedIn so you don't miss a single chapter. If you enjoyed this conversation and are interested in the intersection between business and technology, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you again next time.